What's going on, guys? So today we have a 5th generation 30 gigabyte iPod that the owner says does not work. I kind of asked them to expand on that a little bit and let me know exactly what specifically doesn't work, and they cannot get it to restore with iTunes. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to plug in this iPod and just kind of see what it does. Okay, we got an Apple logo. Actually, I don't know if you guys can hear this or not, but I can hear the hard drive kind of grinding. So right now it's in a boot loop. Let's see if we can get into the diagnostic menu. I don't know if we will be able to. The hard drive kind of seems like it's fried. And since it's in a reboot loop as well, I don't know if I can actually get to the diagnostic menu. So let's see what happens. So to get into that menu, we need to press and hold menu plus center until the iPod reboots. And then as soon as the iPod reboots, we need to press left and center until the screen goes white, and then you release the button. So here we go. Menu and center until the iPod reboots. Okay, it's rebooting. Now press and hold left and center, and the screen should go white. There it is. Sorry guys, this is really hard to see. So press menu for manual test. Scroll down and select I/O. Scroll down and select hard drive. HD Smart Data. Wow. Surprised we actually got into this menu. So we have 3 retracts, 1 realloc, and 3 pending sectors. 15,000 starts and stops and only 587 power on hours. I'm really surprised by this. I don't know, the actions that are being showed here just kind of leads me to believe that the hard drive is dead. But you know what? Yeah, I think actually I'm going to plug it into my computer real quick and see if I can force it to restore. Okay, no go forcing it to restore, so let's replace the hard drive. The customer wanted me to replace it with a 256 gigabyte SD card, so we'll do that. Here is our Tarkin board, our 256 gigabyte SD card. If you guys are interested in buying any of these things and doing these upgrades for yourself, I will leave links in the description below. Okay, so next thing we got to do is we need to open this guy. The thin iPods are a little bit more hard to get open than the thick ones, but this one actually looks like it's been opened before. And the 5th gen iPods are so much easier to open in general than the 6th or 7th generation. See if we can find a good edge to get in. You just go around the edge, releasing the clips. Go. Oh yeah. Yeah, this has definitely been, the battery's been replaced before. I can tell it's an aftermarket battery. As I've explained in all of my other videos, I'm going to explain it again because it's always useful information. So, once you get this cover off, it is really, I guess, kind of second nature to just want to rip the casing off. Well, you have a battery right here, battery cable kind of running right about here. And if you just go and try to rip the case off, you can rip the battery connector off of the motherboard. It's also kind of second nature to just want to grab this ribbon cable here and also rip it out. Again, you can completely not dislodge, but you can rip off the battery connector from the motherboard. You don't want to do that. Sometimes you can get lucky and the plastic piece just comes off, leaving all the pins still connected to the motherboard. You can actually very gently finagle the plastic piece back on it. You can kind of save yourself. But other times you rip the whole thing off, pins and all, and you either need to be really good with a solder gun or you'll be replacing your motherboard. So to get this off without breaking anything, you're going to take a spudger. You're going to hold down on the black part right there, get your pair of tweezers, and you're just going to pull up on the battery cable. Easy peasy. And that battery feels a little swollen. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is remove the hard drive. There's this little black clip right here. You just, so I can do it so you can see it. Just pry up on it. Boom. Pull out. Giggity. Giggity you. Okay. So then we want to remove this battery. Now, if this was a 6th or a 7th gen battery, or I'm sorry, 6th or 7th gen iPod, I would remove this cable because they have an overabundance of adhesive holding this battery down that actually kind of encompasses this hold switch cable here. And if you're not careful, you can damage the cable, or actually you can tear the cable really. So, but there's not a lot of adhesive in the 5th gen, so I should be okay here. Famous last words, right? Yeah. Huh. That's weird too. You can see that there's adhesive all through this. It's man, that's weird. It's almost like there's, well, I guess this is an aftermarket battery. Yeah, that's why. Anyway, sorry, thoughts to myself here. So, okay, so normally in a 5th gen battery, you have adhesive like here and here, and that's it. Unlike a 6th or 7th gen, it's through the whole thing like this. You know, it's late and I'm kind of having a brain fart. This was an aftermarket battery and it did have adhesive all along the back, so yeah, sorry. Losing my marbles here. Okay, so what we want to do now is get our Tarkin board out. Okay. Grab a battery. Okay. So just like when opening the iPod, you don't want to just rip the battery cable out because, like I said before, you will rip off the battery connector off the motherboard and you're going to have a bad day. The same thing goes for when you're wanting to pull up on the battery clip to be able to reseat the battery cable. So again, if you, like this guy, you stick a tool in here and you just pry up on that battery cable right there, not the cable, but the connector, you can still completely dislodge this guy from the motherboard. You don't want to do that. So again, take your spudger, hold down on the white part there, take your handy dandy battery clip tool, also known as a paper clip, stick it down here, boom. So that's good. Now we can put our Tarkin board in with our 256 gigabyte drive. the cable seated. Good, we're in. Push the clip down. Put in our battery. And we should have a restore screen. Or a dead battery screen. Might need to charge this guy up for a little bit. But when we plug it into power, we should have a restore screen. And we do. Sorry, you guys can, there you go. That is the restore screen. So I'm gonna let this charge up because without any type of battery charge, it's not gonna let us restore the iPod to factory settings using iTunes. Even though the USB port does put out some type of power, it's not enough to adequately keep it going while restoring. So it does need to have some charge. So we'll let it stay like this and then we'll restore it and see what happens. So I'll be back with you when it's charged. Okay, got it to restore using iTunes. I dumped a little bit of music on it, so we're gonna plug in some headphones and test it real quick to make sure everything works. And the battery doesn't have too much life at this moment, so that's why it's plugged in, obviously. Scroll wheel feels good. Center button works. So I have no audio out of the left side of my headphones, so I'm going to have to message the owner and let him know that and ask him if he wants me to replace the aux port. So I'll let you know when I hear back from him on that. Okay, so I did hear back from the owner of the iPod, and he said that he actually completely forgot about the aux port left headphone jack not working, or the left headphone itself not working. And he said, yeah, absolutely, please do replace it since I do have it. So I'm gonna invoice him a little bit later on, but in the meantime, let's get this guy swapped out. We've already opened it, obviously. We want to unclip this guy here. Really, you can do so just using your fingernail to pull up on that clip. That comes out. So there are one, 2, 3, and 4 screws. As I've said a bunch of other times, you don't really want to ever just grab a bunch of cables and pull up on them because you can rip them. So there's a little bit of electrical tape right here. So normally I like to take my spudger and just kind of get under there to loosen the tape just a little bit. Okay, so now this comes off. And then we can take our plastic spudger and then get into this slot here and then get that up. Like that. So now we've given ourselves just enough leverage to grab on these 2 cables right here and a little bit of the electrical tape to just pull it up. And then out the cable comes. That case is like Damn near identical. Before we actually take this out, honestly, I might just throw it on here as is. I mean, it's pretty damn identical as far as wear and tear goes. But, oh. First thing we want to do, though, before we take it apart, let's just hook everything up and let's make sure it all works before we go through the trouble. Okay. Actually, we don't even need to do the battery yet. We just plug it into power. Okay, both headphone sides work. Let's check the hold switch. Hold switch works. Actually, this rear case, actually, I mean, they're pretty identical, but I mean, really, I think this one is actually a little bit better shape. I think this one's in a little bit better shape, so I think, honestly, I'm not even going to take anything out. I think I'm just going to give them this case back. Actually, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I didn't put the new battery in. So no need to make you guys watch that again. Okay, new battery's in. So now we just have to put the casing back together. Now, one thing that I like to do is I like to bend the sides of the casing back together. Because I mean, really, when you're prying on it, you kind of bend the casing outward a little bit, and it looks kind of like hell. So, you know, I like to try to put it back to as close as I can, so it doesn't look like it's been opened. So I just take the case like this, and I just squeeze up and down the sides. And just try to bend it in as best you can. Okay, and then and she's closed. And that's it. We have brought back to life an iPod 5th generation 30 gigabyte and updated with a 256 gigabyte drive and replaced the battery. That'll about do it. Thank you guys.